Who better than me?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. And no, this isn't a watch along, it's a casual stream. Apologies. But yeah, you're with your boy, Base the Kid. As always, please like and subscribe and share with a friend, a colleague, a relative, an associate, an enemy, any and all in between. It's appreciated. It is very much appreciated. I'm not even going to spend too much time on the little introductions and the getting to say hey to everyone. Like, we literally are jumping straight into this. Like, we have to talk, and we have to talk serious things. So don't forget, as I said, to like, subscribe, and share on your way in. Leave your comments. We will be addressing those shortly. But yeah, like I said, normally we have a little time to pal around, but right now we got to get to the shits. So with that being said, February 22nd, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it. Some people are saying that it's the greatest boxing card ever. Some are saying of the modern era, and some are saying that, oh, this card's gonna be too long. There's gonna be 7 12 round bouts, and what if they all go the distance? I want to know what your take is, what you guys think. But if you're asking my opinion and you're here, so I'm assuming that you want to know, this is top 3 cards I've ever seen. And in my generation and in the modern era, this is undoubtedly like the greatest card we've ever seen, top to bottom. Yes, not every single fight is 1 versus 2 or 2 versus 3, but every single fight is competitive. And even the fight with maybe the most lopsided odds on it, which is Shakur Stevenson and Floyd Schofield, even that's not a foregone conclusion. I mean, them man have sparred each other in the past. There's clearly a reason why Floyd and Mama Shko be asking for that fight and said that they're willing to take that fight with Shakur, especially considering they don't feel like he's got much power. I'm assuming that's one thing that they're banking on. But let's just take a look at the card from top to bottom. Actually, no, we're going to do it we're going to go from the bottom to the top, because, you know, last but definitely not least in that. So what we currently see is, it appears that the what card is it? It appears that the first fight on the actual card itself is going to be Joshua Buatsi and Callum Smith. Now, let's talk about that one. So you've got Joshua Buatsi, who a lot of people have criticized, saying that he's never gone to take the big step-up fight when it was needed, but he is also the guy that is cleaned up and cleaned out domestically in the UK, and is basically, you know, the top-rated guy everywhere outside of Beterbiev and Bivol on the you know, on the rankings for the light heavyweights. You got him taking on the former 168 champion, a guy that at one point thought he was the best, coming up to 175, a guy that came up to 175 and did damage in his first couple fights, but then unfortunately just ran into a total monster by the name of Artur Beterbiev. Just a juggernaut, just too skilled, too forceful, too big. And he said he lost his mojo, he lost his confidence, because he always believed he was the best. But now he found someone that clearly showed that he was nowhere near the best. But he said because he knows those belts are going to get fragmented, it gives him the opportunity to go pick one up. Because Beterbiev probably going to jump out he's probably going to jump out of the division if he wins this next fight, or even possibly if he loses. I doubt this will work its way into a trilogy, regardless of what happens. So That's a very interesting possibility. So you've got that opening the card supposedly for the WBO interim light heavyweight championship. Next on the card, based on the graphic that we saw, it is the vacant WBC heavyweight championship between Jean Gelé and Abjit Kabayel. Now, why we need a vacant interim title is not really necessary. However, Mauricio Suleiman has said something along the lines of he was not prepared to get in the way and put a mandatory in the way of an undisputed fight. But obviously him saying that now doesn't make much sense because the fight's no longer undisputed. So there's no reason why the WBC belt has to particularly be on the line in that fight. But we know why it's on the line, because ultimately they want that sanctioning fee. And they're going to get 2 sets of sanctioning fees from the heavyweight division on this one, because that interim title is not going to mean anything except a possible elevation once Alexander Usyk vacates, after retirement, if that's what's going to happen. They're going to be sitting on that interim title for pretty much the rest of, their time as long as he's around. But you've got Zhang and you've got Kabayel. Brilliant matchup. You've got the power versus the quickness. You've got the body punching versus the big body. You've also got the gas tank versus the maybe we should call it the half-empty jug, if that's what people are going to look at. But we know that for every second of every round that he's in the fight, Zhang is dangerous. One of the most skilled boxers currently in the heavyweight division. Not the quickest feet-wise, but some of the quickest hands, some of the best timing, and unquestionable power. We saw what he did to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's not necessarily any great shakes to be, using as a barometer, but we also saw him put down Joseph Parker on 2 separate occasions. Joseph Parker, who has one of the best chins in the heavyweight division, put him down, couldn't keep him down, and Parker's, his powers of recovery was what managed to sort of keep him in that fight. And I actually had that fight scored a draw at the end of it. I still remember Chris Andre, the legendary Chris Andre, hope you come back soon. I remember he had Zhang actually winning the fight. And a lot of people had Parker just out hustling him from, I think, the 6th round onwards. But that's who's here. He's basically gone from having the WBO interim title to now possibly getting his hands on the WBC interim title after choosing not to go for the IBF interim title. So, there's a lot of interim belts going around in the heavyweight division thus far. But let's move up the card. The next fight on the card, if I remember correctly, was Hamza Shiraz, or should I say, Carlos Adames. No, that's not the next one. The next fight is actually Virgil Ortiz versus Israel Madrimov. Bear in mind, Madrimov has a fight on the 21st of December. So he's got a lot of confidence in himself that he is going to run through Sergey Boachuk to be able to come back and turn over in literally 8 weeks. So at best, that gives you maybe a week to 2 weeks worth of rest and recuperation, and then back into the gym. However, it depends on how much he balloons in weight. If his weight is normally in and around fight weight and he can kind of keep it there, he could actually maybe take 3 to 4 weeks off and only train for those last 4, and then use maybe the last few days to do the last bit of his cut, depending on how he manages that. But you've got Virgil Ortiz, who some people said should have came back as a middleweight. Chances are, if Israel Madrimov can't even make that fight, there's talks that possibly Erislandy Lara could be the opponent, and the fight ends up being made at 160 for that WBA title instead. But either way, whether it's Lara and Ortiz or it's Madrimov and Ortiz, we're talking high quality, high rate work right about now. After that, you've got Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz for the WBC middleweight championship. Hamza's definitely got the size and the reach advantage here, but Carlos is very, very comfortable at that 160 weight, and dare I say he's probably a lot more comfortable at that weight than Hamza Shiraz is. So this fight is not a foregone conclusion by any stretch of the imagination. Both guys can punch, but the difference between both of them is the fact that Hamza knows how to use his height and reach very, very well. That could possibly be my most intriguing fight of the night. We don't know why he decided not to take the Janibek fight, but I can't complain with Adames, and I couldn't even complain with Lara if they chose that one. That may have actually been the easiest fight for him, considering Lara is the smallest of them all at like 5 foot. I think he's 5'9", 5'10", but he's got a very long reach. Having said that, those older legs, they don't move as much as they used to, so he looks to time his shots and throw those power shots a lot more than he did back in the day. And remember, he's a guy that at one point was fighting at 147, then 154, now up to 160. So that could have been the way, but they've chosen Adames, who again was a 147 guy that went up to 154 and is now very comfortable at 160. Very, very interesting work. But we're not done, because third from top, Shakur SS Stevenson against Floyd Schofield. This is probably the fight on the card which you're going to get the worst odds on. But that also being said, if you was to put money on Schofield, there's a good chance that could yield a return on investment. Shakur's been out of the ring for, at the time of this card, it would have been 11 months. Injured hands, brittle hands. You know, he punches hard enough, but he doesn't punch hard enough that, you know, you're really worried about getting knocked out as such, especially if you're a young, brash Schofield. He's on this fight with nothing to lose, everything to gain, and a huge payday to boot. I do want to make one comment about that fight though. It's obvious that Golden Boy are protecting William Zepeda, right? And to be fair, they tried to protect Schofield, but he said, I want that work, give me that work. But what do you notice about the two of them that you haven't, without me getting real political, but all I'm gonna say is this, right? Golden Boy seemed very willing to protect the I guess the Mexican prospects on the roster. You know, that those Mexican contingent where possibly they see those pound signs, but maybe not as quick to do so with the American lot, maybe we'll say. But I'm sure you guys will understand what I mean when I'm talking about the American lot, because they do have form for, you know, throwing certain unbeaten prospects into fights as opposed to others, and you normally notice there's a quite distinct difference between the two. But hey, that being said, I'm looking forward to that fight. I do think that Shakur Stevenson is due a great performance at this point, and this could be the one. This could be that next coming out, you know, sort of that grand arrival type performance. It could be this one, but nothing's a foregone conclusion. But we're not done, because after that we are looking at Daniel Dynamite Dubois against Joseph, I'm not gonna bother with the New Zealand Maui name, or the Samoa name I should say, apologies, but Joseph Parker fellow Capricorn. Shout out to all the Capricorns in the stream. Shout out to Joseph. I actually do need to get in touch. I want to try and get him on the channel if possible. Hopefully within the next month or so. But wait for news on that. It's something that's in the works. But yeah, that fight there. The one issue I have with this fight is I feel like they're trying to get Joseph Parker on a layoff. He's been begging for fights basically since he upset Zhang back in March, on the 8th of March, right? So this fight would ultimately be almost 12 months after his previous fight. Now, the best part of Joseph Parker's career, the resurgence, it wasn't every fight was against the killer, but he fought something like 5 times in, I think it was 13 months. Something along those lines. It was that type of duration. And if you were to add in the it was about that. It was September was the Joe Joyce fight. Then there was the Jack Massey fight. Then he went to New Zealand for 2 fights. Then he fought Wilder in December, and then he fought Zhang in March. So yeah, realistically, if we go from the September up until this March just gone, that was 6 fights in, I think, 15 months. It's crazy, a crazy level of consistency, work rate, and we saw the best of Joseph. But with all of this time that they've now had to basically sit and wait for opportunities, he's decided to go in the gym and get big. Apparently he's walking around about 270 pounds at this point. Now, he's a big guy, he's 6'4", but let's be honest, Joseph Parker's frame isn't designed to be 270 pounds and to be like a fully functional adult. I know obviously as a Samoan, he can carry that weight because they are known for being able to carry a lot of weight, but that's not, I don't feel like that's optimum weight for him to fight at. And he's been given the chance to do that for the last 7 months because there's been no fight to get ready for. I'm hoping that it doesn't hamper him too much, but I do see that being a little bit of an issue, especially when Daniel, who's pretty much, he's one of, pound for pound, one of the strongest at heavyweight division, is still only sitting around maybe 245 at the minute. His premium weights before was like 238, 239. I think he was 247 for the AJ fight or somewhere there or thereabouts. So maybe he might decide to even drop a little bit down, but that means he's going to have the speed, he's going to have the stamina, and we already know that he's got a great work rate. Even when he gets tired, he manages to find that second wind. So Joseph's got some work on his hands. If he's just trying to go for power, that's not the way to beat Daniel Dubois, unless it's power in combinations or consistently just breaking his will. But for all we know, he's gotten over those hurdles. Maybe his will can't be broken anymore. We don't know. But that being said, it's a great fight. It's an intriguing fight, and I'm looking forward to it. But then if that wasn't good enough, if that wasn't already worth the 1999, Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol, Part 2, after the very razor close first fight, which was edged in favor of Artur Beterbiev, we get the rematch. And not only do we get the rematch, less than 4 months later. Whew. This is the kind of time frames and work rates we're not used to seeing at the elite level these days. Especially if we're being honest, Artur Beterbiev. Like normally we're averaging 1 fight every 13 to 14 months. 1 fight a year. Then when the second fight's supposed to come, something happens, an injury happens, it breaks down. I'm of the opinion that won't be the case on this particular. I don't think there's going to be any injuries. This will be his fight before Ramadan. Then after Ramadan is when he will probably decide to move up to cruiser, as he said that he's not looking to retire until he does move up to cruiserweight. But what a great fight this is going to be. Now, some people say the Arthur's going to be even better because in the last fight, he was coming off of the injury, probably wasn't sparring the best. Maybe they was trying to conserve the knee, making sure that the knee didn't have too many issues. But he's done 12 rounds on the knee now. He knows the knee's all right. The knee's cool. The knee can take the twists and the turns. And whereas Dimitri Bivol hasn't been, he wasn't using his feet to make Arthur have to move around and catch him and pivot. He was actually standing fair enough in range, taking that half step, maybe that little pendulum from here to there, but he was staying right on the inside. So Arthur didn't have to do much. It was a brilliant fight the first time round. To me, it's one of the most technically brilliant fights I've ever watched and still been supremely entertained by. There was jeopardy in every round by both guys, but the technical brilliance, the adjustments, everything was pitch perfect. Will we get the same in the rematch? Will it be round 13 or will it be round 1 of a new process? And what adjustments do both people make? Does Arthur make much adjustments, knowing that the way he won the first fight was in that same vein? Does Dimitri make many adjustments? Does he just try to keep the work rate up? Does Arthur go a lot more aggressive now because he knows that he can affect the construct of Bivol? Or does Dimitri, does he try to conserve himself a little more in the early rounds because he knows that in the later rounds is when he can make the biggest impact on Beterbiev? Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking like top of the tops right about now. But that's my thoughts on everything. We go into the chat. I'm gonna say hello to everyone, and I'm gonna get everyone else's thoughts on what's going down. So first in the building today was Philip Ants. Shout out to you. Turkey Defo cooked up one of the best cards ever for Riyadh season. Is definitely one of the best, 100%, no questions asked. Man like Mulla, shout out to you. North Bank Bren in the building as well. Big ups. Hot Fires in the building. Mulla, Yard missing out on that payday. Well, we could get into some Yard talking a little bit because I'm pretty sure it's coming. Only thing is Madrimov gonna make it. I mean, that's the intrigue. That makes it even more compelling to watch Usyk Fury 2, to find out about that fight. Has now become a lot more interesting and a lot more must see because we need to know what kind of shape Madrimov's going to be in by the time we get to February. It's a brilliant card, 100% it is. Carme, shout out to you. Thank you very much for being here. Jonah 31, Bivol and Beterbeev's sons. Philip, Tunde was literally bad mouthing on last week's Stamina for Sale Live. Now, what's he gonna say? Bad mouthing. All right, put in. What did he say? I need to know what he said. What was he bad mouthing? Callum Smith, yawn emoji. Oh, all right. Man like Raymond Hill, shout out to you. Untraceable, shout out to you. You know what? You're not late, Untraceable. I just started earlier than usual. Like we had to talk, and I had to get my spiel off. James, evening to you. I got Caballero mashing him up. Oof. It's not a hot take, but it's a spicy one. Jam Down 187, shout out. How cynical. Money Mauricio has never been about the cash. The sanctioning fees are merely administrative costs. Never change. Big up. Raymond, can't understand how Tunde can justify leaving Queensbury at a time like this. I can. Because you can't get easy fights again now. Now that you've got Saudi money, you don't even have to worry about losing money on cards or having to do everything on pay-per-view. So you can let your best guys fight your best guys, or the best guys fight the best guys. If they lose, oh well, we've got the money to get another person in. So, boy, Zhang won. Possibly. Where is Yard? He won't. I'm saying it now. Madrimov beats Ortiz. Well, he's got to get there first, but if Madrimov makes this happen, this guy is a beast, 100%. Emma Willis in the building. Shout out to you, Emma. Virgil taking on a soon-to-be softened up Madrimov. I don't fully respect it. I mean, it was very opportunistic, but at the end of the day, They put the offer to Madrimov, and he chose this life. This isn't the same with you had Dex Spellman facing Lyndon Arthur and then facing Anthony Yard 5 weeks later. Like it's not that bad, but you know, Madrimov wants those 7-figure paydays, and he's good enough to probably be able to keep himself relatively calm. And again, I'm pretty sure that if anything happens, whether he doesn't look that great or he gets a little bit beat up, even if he wins, I'm pretty sure they'll draft in someone else. I've heard they got a couple contingency plans. I put one out there myself, whereby I think that potentially they've got Lara on standby to make weight in case, and give him to basically have Lara to be around and wait for that fight card to happen in December. And if it happens, then they're giving him 8 weeks. I think Lara's the backup personally. Man like Joseph Frimpong, shout out to you. Matchroom sending in their fighters to the slaughter once again. They haven't learned. Wait, which fighters are we talking about? If we're talking about Madrimov, I mean, look, at the end of the day, he's lost the O, he's lost the belt. There's not really much for him to do except just to be like maybe the guard dog for the next guy, innit? You make Madrimov go in there. If Ortiz gets past him, then you give him to someone else in the roster after he's been suitably softened up. I'm pretty sure that's how they'll work it. Did you hear the nonsense from Brian Norman's dad blame Eddie for not making the fight with Ortiz? Something about Eddie being white, etc. I guess Bob Arum is black to them. Madness. Yeah, he said, everyone want to sign for the white man, the white man. Yeah, I mean, I guess if they're gonna be finicky, Bob is like not a class Caucasian white. He's like a Jewish. Jewish is a little different. It's not the same kind of white. So, but yeah, it's a lot of them American man are idiot, especially them ones from the South. So you just have to kind of take it as it is. One is black, one brown. Well, yeah, I mean, Karma said, "Clock it, babe." I've seen these things. Trust me, like Golden Boy are definitely willing to let a certain demographic of their unbeaten prospects go to the well before they're ready, or and not manage them in a certain way than they do for another demographic. I mean, Rashidi Ellis was probably one of the most notable ones. Shane Mosley Jr. was another one. Now, whether or not he was ever going to be anything is not the point. But yeah, they got form for that. There's probably a little bit of that in there somewhere. I think everyone underestimated how truly stupid Norman Sr. is. Yeah. Triple D running through Parker like a knife through butter. Okay. What fights has got to take? Parker for the upset. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, that Capricorn gene is strong. I know Sonny tried to downplay our stock on the weekend, but this Joseph's a different kettle of fish. Joyce at home thinking, I smoked both of them. Oh, he must be breaking shit in the house right about now. I beat the brakes off of both these guys, and they're the ones on Riyadh making like 8-figure paydays, and I'm just here like can't get a fight, losing to Derek Chisora. I know it's nasty work. You know what? That's one thing I will never forgive Frank Warren for. As much as I love Frank now, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Frank is the GOAT, he's the Godfather, but the way he done Joe Joyce after Joe Joyce beat up the Golden Boy, like, that was rude. That was out of order. Like, he had Joyce having to run Murderer's Row while Daniel was getting handpicked occasions and still managed to find his way to a world title first. Imagine you broke up Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, and both of them get to a world title opportunity before you do. It's horrendous work. But that being said, Joe Joyce and the team did it to himself. You got to also blame Sam Jones. I know Sam wasn't with him in the second fight, but he was a part of the ludicrous nature of putting that first young fight, and he's going to stop him. All he needs to do is put on more weight for the rematch. Just made him slower and even easier to hit. Mate, horrible. With Dubois, you need to break him 100%. Philip, I reckon Bivol's wife will do another live hate watch along. Oh boy, Base, you sold it to me. I'm glad I did. Thank you. I'm trying to up some of my energy. Some people say I'm a bit too measured, a bit too calm. I am a very analytical, thoughtful, processing type of person, but on the live streams I just get to be, I get to have a little more fun. So we can try to bring up the energy just a little piece. Definitely beat Parker. Saying stuff, but Watsy keeps using Yard's name in the interview. When he was asked about the Yard fight, he said he wants other fights, and he was offered the Bivol fight and swerved it. Yeah, I mean, on more than one occasion. Trav versus Tony, who you got, Base? I mean, look, you can't underestimate experience. Tony is a very decorated amateur, but he never made it to the pros. And he never made it to the pros because he had imposter syndrome in the gym. When he was getting that work from someone else on the amateur team. And now Travis hasn't got the same level of experience, but he has been training boxing. He's had a couple of fights under the hot bright lights as well. And we can't discount the 7-inch height advantage, and probably the 5 or 6 inch reach advantage. So Travis keeps him at the end of the jab. It could be a long night for Tony. I don't know how he's going to be able to slip inside that jab consistently to be able to work the body. I don't know if that peekaboo style is going to be able to work in his favor. Travis is like 6'2", Tony's like 5'6.5", 5'7". Like it's going to be a long night. But if anyone can devise the plan, it's got to be the pugilist boy. But that being said, I'm going with my fellow Broccoliite, my fellow SC4, my fellow Lewisham Blueborough. Former Blueborough. I know he don't live on the ends no more. Like, sold out for the country life. But actually, wait, that's a point. I just realized why Tony's become so bossy all of a sudden. He actually moved to Blueborough. He went from Watford to somewhere in North London to Croydon. Now he's in Blueborough. All of a sudden he's trying to fight guys 20 years younger than him. True say, the Blue Bar does do that to you. It gives you new levels of energy and and impetus that you never really had before. And Travis has been out at the ends for a little while, so he's got the spark, but he's domesticated now. He's a country guy. Oh, I don't know who I got in this one anymore. I got to think about that. I got to see some training footage. But all I know is whoever wins that one, like, they got to see me afterwards. So I don't envy either guy. Speaking of which, if Fight Fan TV is in there, man like Danny Glover, he already knows he's got to get this work in the gym as well. He's been putting that off for a while, saying, "Oh, let me lose a little bit of weight first." I'm like, well, hurry up, lose the weight, because let's get it. Let's do this before my shoulder truly mashes up, because I've got a bad shoulder. I'm not trying to be delaying to the point where now I can't throw it, and you man got unfair advantage. We're not doing that. So hurry up, Danny. Trav, Tony, get the date locked in. Hot Prize, looks like they promised Ortiz a fight and wanted to announce the card. Yeah, probably. Was talking about Ortiz and Schofield. Yeah, base, big up the Capricorns, man. January. Oh, on the 5th, yeah? That's what I like to see. And funny enough, 5 is my favorite number. Don't ask me why. I just love the number 5. I always have. There's no reason for it. I wish I was born on the 5th, but I'm not. But yeah, everything about the number 5, just, I don't know what it is about the number, but shout out to you. Goes to show how evil Frank is. So yeah, man. Frank, but to be fair, that also goes to show you just how loyal Frank was to Daniel. He's like, there's no way that you're beating up my boy and then thinking that you're just gonna get excelled. Now you gotta run that murderer's rope. Because after Dubois, it was Takam, it was he got Hammer. I think he got it was Hammer before that. But there was Takam, there was Parker, there was the Zhang 2 times, but there was someone else as well. Someone put in the chat. I can't remember who else he fought after he fought Dubois, but every fight was just a difficult fight. And you're just like, raw, you're taking another one and another one. All right. JJ believed too much in the Juggernaut. What's your height? I'm about 5'10" and a half. So, yeah, just under 5'11". But obviously, with trainers on, I'm touching about 6'1". Tony is 50. Yeah, Tony is 56. Jam down. Yeah, Tony got run out of Croydon with the swiftness and had to find solace in Lewisham. I can't lie to you, Jam down. You don't get run out of Croydon and then try to find solace in Lewisham. If anything, it'd be the other way around. And even then, it's like, raw. You get me? Like, neither is exactly the way to go. Shout out to man like Dan the Man, SC15, hardest working guy on Twitex. And Muller Tony is 135 years old. Christian Hammer. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. So it's Christian Hammer. There was Joseph Parker. There was Zhang twice, but there was someone else, because I obviously know it was within the pandemic as well, just after that. Takam. I'm sure there was one other person. But either way, he was just taking hard fight after hard fight after hard fight. And even if they weren't necessarily hard in the sense that he was definitely going to lose them, like they just weren't the easy touches that Daniel was getting. He didn't get, a Trevor Bryan. He didn't get someone like that. He didn't get, what's the Italian American guy's name? Cusimano. He didn't get a Cusimano or anything like that. So, he didn't get what's the one that used to train with Joseph Parker that they fought? He fought him after I can't remember his name. He started with an R. That's all I can remember. I think he was Romanian. No, I'm not talking about Cash Ali. That was early. That was later. Sorry, that was after the losses. I'm talking about before then. Shout out to Fidel Tawaldi. What's up, base? Do you really think Chisora retires if he KOs Wallin and Wilder after whoever is his 50th fight when there's so much money on the table? Yeah, I think he will. I think he just wants that number because that's a very old school boxer, especially heavyweight number, to be at like 50 fights or I don't think he'll stay past that. He's already said he's starting to, the camps are starting to feel different, but that's his goal. No. Croydon and Lewisham of yesterday was one in the same. Today's Lewisham is upper middle class. Well, true say he is right by town centre, so. But I still wouldn't call it upper middle. It's maybe lower middle class. Dillian fought Hammer. Yeah, no, Dillian fought him earlier this year in Ireland. But I'm talking about Joe Joyce fought him as well. But I'm just trying to remember his run after he beat Daniel Dubois. Because even his run before Daniel Dubois was like leaps and bounds ahead of what Dubois was doing. Because that's when he was fighting. Who did he fight? He fought Bermain Stavern. He fought Trevor Bryant Jennings. Who else did he fight in that little run there? What's the guy? Is it Lenroy Thomas? He fought Lenroy Thomas as well. Okay, so it was Takam Hammer Parker in the fights after Dubois. Okay, that makes sense. And then from after Parker, it was Zhang twice. All right. Yeah, thanks for that. I couldn't remember the order, but yeah. Either way, imagine he was fighting those fights. You fight Takam and you fight Parker, and there's no world title shot afterwards. You don't even get put in the mandatory position. Yeah, Ustinov and Stavern, he fought before. That's true. Shout out. Say what, Town Centre? Come we rob him when you're ready. I looked at the house prices for Lewisham and had to relax my ambitions of getting out of Crichton. No, do you know where you need to go? Like, forget Lewisham. You have to go Beckenham. Because Beckenham is just outside of the postcode where even though the house prices are crazy, you get more house for the price. You go Beckenham, Orpington, the outskirts of Bromley, maybe even a little bit of St. Mary's Cray, Sidcup even. Like, you can get some, they're not, Sidcup ain't the greatest of place, but you can get some decent, decent house for that. But yeah, Lewisham ain't the place unless you're looking to just buy property to rent out. Lewisham's a horrible place to try and own. Like, I'm lucky that there's enough real estate in my family to be okay, but even that's not great. NIGP shout out. Sunday's got yard peeping through the gap in the fence. Thought the free agent thing was gonna run it like Canelo, but Turkey's not interested. 100%. But again, as I said, if you're leaving Queensbury at that particular time, it's because you know that there's no more easy fights, so there's no more learning. Like, there's no more learning on the job. Like, you are what you are. You get in there and fight, and if you ain't good enough, then you ain't good enough. But the worst thing about it is, at this point in time, Anthony Yard has got 3 losses on the record. Worrying about taking another L at this point is redundant, because you've lost 3 times. If it was 3 times up at the world elite level, that's one thing, but it wasn't. Only 2 of them was up there. The other one was at domestic. So you might as well get down and mix it with the other man them and make some nice change. But that's their business. Okay, so now that we've all kind of had our say on that particular card, which is, like we said, I don't think there's anything else we need to say more about that one. Let's look at some other news that's taken place. Now, obviously, I've got videos to do. I don't know when I'm going to get around to them. Hopefully, I might do some. Actually, I can do them tomorrow because I'm on my work from home day from work, so I can fit some time in between everything else to drop a couple videos for the channel. But yeah, look, so I haven't watched any of the build up and the stuff for Ryan Garcia and Ampo. I haven't seen I think, have they done the press conference for Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach yet? I haven't checked that, but I think that's something obviously I need to have a look at, just for the interest of how they're going to try and position the fight. But let's talk about Fury and that trailer, the Usyk Fury Reignited trailer. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to say, I think if it's not the best, it's the second best trailer that they've done so far for Riyadh season. But I do have an issue with it. My issue for that trailer is, if you look at it, right, the way it starts is perfect. You got Fury he's in counseling, he's in therapy, like, what troubles you, and then he just sees Usyk everywhere, and that makes perfect sense to me. Because you got beat up and broke up around the ring in the 9th round. You was pretty much getting outworked in the first 3 rounds. You was getting maneuvered in the rounds after that, where you was having your success, but your success was coming because you was being tenderized and set up for other work. Then we get rounds 8, round 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, you did all right in the 12th, but that's what we're looking at, okay? So all of that happens. You lose your undefeated streak. You lose your cloak of invincibility. You lose your monikers and everything that you claim to be. So yeah, therapy and everything makes sense. So it should have been, I've got to run this back. I've got to run this back. I didn't like the fact that in that trailer, they had Alexander Usyk basically seeing Tyson Fury everywhere he went. Why? Why would you see the person that you beat? Why would you see the person that you nearly knocked out? Like, it doesn't really make much sense that both of them are suffering PTSD of the other, and they need to run it back to basically battle the demons. So to me, the trailer would have been better if it was Tyson Fury battling his demons, seeing Usyk everywhere he goes, and the whole trailer was about him basically having to get himself out of that dark place to come back for redemption, to right the wrongs and to clear his mind of those devils, and to go and beat his biggest challenge, the guy that conquered him. A bit like in Rocky 3, you know, he got beat by Clubber Lang, and then the rest of it is basically like the comeback and the redemption. That to me would have made more sense, with Usyk being the antagonist of it, rather than both of them being each other's antagonist and protagonist. That's the only thing that I had an issue with, because I'm like, there's no reason for Usyk to be, you know, in that traumatic state, because he's the one that got the victory. And got the, as far as I'm concerned, it was a very conclusive victory. It wasn't no split decision. It wasn't no close fight. But yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know if you had any issues with it, or what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Again, I'm not gonna say I didn't like it because of that. I still thought it was an amazing trailer. I just think it would have been better had that have been the storyline of the trailer. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I just go back to here. Basically, on crack. Orpington and St. Mary's Cray, okay, but Beckenham have nothing but 1 million plus standard 3 beds. I mean, there's a couple places in Beckenham I've seen where I don't know how big you're looking for the house to be, but I've seen a couple. I always Google and go through Beckenham, but there's you can find some decent deals. Go on Rightmove. I'm always on Rightmove looking at properties. How much learning does this guy need anyways? Well, yeah, I mean, there's other stuff I can say, but I don't want to be the one to, you know, to let out certain talks. I'll let other people, you know, release them. Crawford said big news are coming. You think it's a Canelo fight? Possibly. Oh, is it tonight? Okay, it'll start at 9 o'clock. All right, appreciate that. I might check it out. I also feel like that it was a bit like a horror trailer, which is confusing since the fight is in December. Still a great trailer. I didn't think, no, I didn't look at it as horror. I looked at it as more psychological thriller. If I was going to judge it by a movie standard, I would see it as more of a thriller, but like a psychological one, as opposed to like a horror thing. I've got a feeling that this fight being closer than the first fight, logic tells me that Fury's legs will be less mobile than the first fight, and therefore even more conclusive from Usyk. Yeah, I mean, I think personally, there's a reason Fury is trying to come in looking like, you know, the Michelin Man with no legs. I think he's trying to look to throw heavy artillery in those first rounds. Maybe not like consistently for 6 rounds, but he's gonna look to load up shots a lot more. I can see him trying to like hold his feet and plant his feet and go for power. But he was knackered by round 7, the end of round 7. He was knackered in the first fight, or getting there. Round 8, he was gone. 9, 10, and then managed to just sort of skirt around and skate in the 12th. But if he puts on extra weight, he's just going to get tired quicker. So if he don't get it done inside those first 4 to 5 rounds, which I don't think Usyk's capable of being knocked out in 5 rounds. I just don't really see it happening. So yeah, I think his gas tank, his energy reserve is just going to be KO'd and fried from early. I'm on Rightmove right now. Oh, what, you coming to the UK, yeah? You got to come to South. Skyline, by the way, base, great watch along as well. Thank you. You know what? I say thank you very much for that, because I can't lie. I thought my watch along was a bit shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. There wasn't as many people on the watch along as I thought there would be, but I was losing. I can't lie, I was losing a little bit of energy, motivation, and concentration because I was tired. By the end of it, the very last, I'm sure people will kind of notice. I think I must have micro slept about 3 times towards the end of that live. We're talking maybe 1 or 2 seconds, like nothing big, but yeah, I don't need to be on a stream doing that to people that are, that are taking their time to watch. So I wasn't that happy with it, but obviously there was circumstances. I didn't really get a chance to come in and relax and whatever. I was literally rushing from Muswell Hill, just about made it in time. My streams weren't working properly and I was hungry. Then I decided to eat food, which obviously isn't necessarily the greatest thing when you guys are watching, but the food was good, but the food was heavy. I felt tired after that. I'd had a few drinks when I was out. Well, one drink, but it was a pretty big one. But that being said, I'm a sleepy drunk. Not that I was drunk or even tipsy, but I want to go to sleep when I'm drinking. So yeah, there's a lot that was going on. Who wins, Dennis McCann or Peter McGrail? Oh, Peter McGrail's got the heavier hands, but I think Dennis McCann's got a better. I think he's got a better pro. Maybe not a better pro style, but he's got better pro schooling. I haven't given a full prediction yet, but at the minute I'm leaning towards Dennis McCann, if I'm honest. I can't get the who did McGrail fight that knocked him out? Yeah, I can't get that fight out of my head, even though I can't remember the guy's name. Fury to Usyk body, yep. Oh, what, you coming on Christmas? All right, call me. Yeah, shout me when you're here, most definitely. I agree, but don't think Fury would have signed up to that. Too much humiliation, and he's still trying to convince himself that he won. Having said that, though, if you think about it, a lot of time with trailers and stuff, or even with films, you don't film and you don't see everything. Like, they give you your parts of the film. You get the basic premise, and then you film your stuff, and then they cut it together. Like, so he may not even have had to know what Usyk's part in the trailer was, because essentially it would have been exactly the same as what he did. The only difference is Usyk just wouldn't have been doing the same thing, or Usyk may have been playing a different role in the trailer instead. Did you see KG yesterday showing a picture of Lennox and Usyk, saying it reminded him of Fraser Clark and how he brought bad vibes to him? Do you think KG might be onto something, or is he just trying? I was watching Monday Night Smoke. I didn't actually see that part. I think I was in the bathroom or downstairs when they was talking about that, so I didn't even know what he was referring to. I mean, look, if Lennox is bad vibes, he's bad vibes. It is what it is, but we'll just have to see what happens, basically. The last Survivor Series I watched live, Brett got screwed. Oh, 97, Montreal Screwjob. Still one of the most infamous wrestling events in history. Speaking of that, though, if we're going to talk about wrestling very, very briefly, Monday Night Raw yesterday was brilliant. That New Day stuff, some of the best writing that they've had in wrestling for a long time. That New Day stuff was actually amazing. I think it's got room for improvement, but I just enjoyed the running commentary because the matches were pretty good. It just added something extra. Now, you know what? I'm doing Saturday night's main event on the 14th. I know there's a lot of boxing on that day, but most of it's like during the day. So I'll be fresh for that. I'll be at the boxing I'm going to be at the York Hall fight on the Friday. I'm going to be at Harrow Community Centre on the Saturday for the Lucas Rollwig debut. I'll seize the Monte Carlo stuff, but yeah, I'll be tuned into Saturday night's main event, and that will be a much better stream, 100%. Jericho Quinn, that's it, Jericho Quinn. Thank you for that, very much waved. Oh man, like Raw Holcomb in the building as well. What's going on, Raw? Thank you very much for being there. But yes, Jericho. So I can't get that out of my head, and that just tells me, even though I know that Dennis McCann can't crack like that, it does tell me that you are open to being caught and to being got. So yeah. Do you think Dave Allen could upset Johnny Fisher? He could. 100% he could. It depends on how he's trained for this fight. If he's actually given this fight some decent consideration, and he goes with some impetus, he could definitely outpoint Johnny Fisher. I don't think he's able to knock him out, but he could definitely beat him on the cards. He's good enough. He's got good enough foot movement. He's got good upper body movement. Pretty good defense when he's switched on, and he's quite heavy-handed himself. So shout out to man like Batista Diablo. Base, I feel like I've met you in a previous life, but views on Sonny fight. Yeah, I mean, the views are Sonny got ran through, unfortunately. Unfortunately, he got ran through like them old gal back in the day that was trying to be a part of the crew and had to do certain things to get their stripes. Unfortunately, that's what it was. But that being said, I mean, he's had a great career. For being such a little guy, he's managed to make himself must-watch TV mainly in the openings before the fights actually started. But he did a lot of good stuff. Can't take any of that away from Sonny. And to be honest, the lightweight division does kind of need a Sonny Edwards or someone like that, because as much as Galal Yafai is a good fighter, he's boring. He's more plain than tap water. So like in terms of any must-see TV, that's not him. And I say that respectfully. Like, I enjoy watching his fights, but you can't convince a casual that that's the guy to get behind, especially at such a low weight. With Bam was a little bit similar to that, but he's starting to come out of his shell a bit more now. Plus, he's Mexican American as well, so he's already got a built-in cheat code. Unfortunately, Galal and them man are, being Asian ain't necessarily got the same. It doesn't work the same way. So yeah. But having said that, one thing that maybe Eddie might have to look at doing potentially, you might have to start basing Galal Yafai out in Japan. Like, forget about the UK nights with him. Like, the flyweight, the light flyweight, the super flyweight, all of that region is Japan and Mexico. Maybe that's where you got to start promoting him now, and maybe he can get more traction from there. Because outside of Birmingham, with like a good person or bare ticket sellers on the card, I don't know how much tickets he can draw. So that's what I would say. But what do I know? I'm just a hardcore casual chatting shit on a live stream. Skyliner, the editor, KG was referring to the Lennox curse, and he drew out a pattern of boxers who indulged with Lennox ended up getting beat afterwards. Oh, okay. I mean, I thought that he said something about Lennox. I just didn't actually see the actual segment, and then I fell asleep. When I tell you I was mash up yesterday, because when I came home, I had to go and take my mum shopping. My little sister, who obviously my mum usually relies on for a lot of stuff, she's gone on holiday for 2 weeks. So now I'm the one getting the calls to do everything. So I didn't sleep that night before, got up, basically had to go work, take my mum shopping, get home. Like, I'm watching Monday Night Smoke. I don't even remember how it finished. I was gone by like the second half of Monday Night Smoke, and didn't wake up till about 1:15 in the morning. So yeah. I needed rest. The Sonny Edwards fight was a mismatch based on. I'm being honest. Unfortunately, like, Man, man got violated. You're not supposed to be in like one of the biggest fights of your life and get treated like that. Greetings, base in the chat, man. Like Beauty of the Pencil. Good to catch up again. Interesting stream. I've been listening from afar. I appreciate that you've been listening. Man, like Star Fox WR45E in the building. Have you ever seen Lloyd Banks live? That could be where you're getting deja vu with base. I mean, I've been to a couple of Lloyd Bank conversations still, but I know what you're trying to say. It's funny. You've probably already discussed the Feb 22nd card, but I think it's not as great as Don King's Night of Champions in 1994. That had 6 world title fights, including several pound-for-pound candidates and ATGs. We have spoken about it, and I said, in my opinion, it's probably one of the top 3 cards of all time, and of the modern generation, the modern era. So the last 25 years or however we're quantifying that is definitely the best. I've seen that Night of Champions card and the rematch, what was it called? The rematch revenge or something like that. The question is, all of those fighters turned out to be like tremendous fighters, but how many of them were big names at the time? That's sometimes what we have to think about. But also outside of that, there were 6 world title fights on there. But how many of the other fights were competitive, like the other fights on the undercard? And how many of those actual world title fights were, the number 1 versus the number 2, or the number 1 versus the number 3, or the number 2 versus the number 3 or 4? So I'm not saying it's not the best card ever. It was an amazing card. I just have to go back and do my research before I put a ranking out there. But this one, of the last 25 years, 100%, it's the best. And I reckon it's probably top 3. I can't say top 3 of all time, but top 3 of my lifetime. So from the 80s up until now, I would say it's in the top 3 cards personally. RIP to Israel Vasquez. Yeah, I did see that. Although, to be honest, I don't know much about him, if I'm gonna be real. So I can't really comment too much, but obviously condolences to the family and the friends who lost a loved one. Run through, not sexual exploitation. Gotta love Skyliner, shut up. Anything spiritual flying after that fight. Does Hamza Shiraz beat Adames? He's got a great chance to. It won't be easy. That's a definite 50-50 fight. And Adames is definitely a lot more comfortable making the weight, but Hamza is a lot more active. And that's the problem. Adames has been on a 1 fight a year diet since 2019. So you never know. Usyk met up with Lennox before the first Fury fight. Oh, there we go. So maybe that dispels that rumor then. Why do you think Boots refused the fight with Ortiz? Personally, I think it's 2 reasons. Number 1, I think he wants to stay at 147 because he wants to unify. And number 2, I think he knows if he goes to 154 for one fight, his body won't be able to get back down to 147. As much as he says he makes that weight easy, like he's a huge individual. And it could be a Roy Jones Jr. type thing, but the difference is when Roy Jones went up to heavyweight, yes, he put on some muscle, but the majority of it was fat, so it was a lot easier to get off. Whereas Boots, I think if for him to go and fight a guy that's been campaigning at 154 for like the last year, he's probably gonna try to, he's gonna probably be in the weights room a little bit more than he should do. And I think he knows if he goes up there, he can't get back down to 147 to do a unification. I think that's what it is. Outside of that, though, I mean, it could possibly be he just doesn't want to take hard fights. Maybe he's better talking about being about it rather than actually being about it. Anything's possible. I think it's more to do with the lack of personality than actually their background or the crowd, because there's plenty of Asian boxers. you have good followings and sell tickets. Yeah, no. I'm not saying that it's because of their background why he's not going to sell. I'm saying the Asian guys, generally speaking, don't really get that same level of interest from the wider. They get it good from their communities, and they can sell a lot of tickets within the communities, but in that wider section, he may not get that. Him being Asian is a part of that. Let's not forget, Amir Khan spoke about it a lot. Like, he didn't probably get all of the attention that he deserved to get, and a lot of it probably was partially the demographic, but he was a more entertaining a person. Whereas because Galal is not that entertaining, plus he's got those other things going against him as well, being in a smaller weight division, obviously being an Asian close community type person that's gonna have their community involved, but maybe not the wider, more tribalistic, more xenophobic, that type of crowd get behind you as well. Whereas if you go to Japan, like, the opportunities are a lot more plentiful. Shout out to man like Disrespect87, big up base and the undefeated Familia. Like and share the thing, 100%. My man knows what he's talking about, so please do as he said. They're treated like that and cry. Yeah, definitely. Boots' last performance left more questions than answers. He wants to be eased into 154. There's also that. What's the ethnicity of them Yafais? If they're Middle Eastern, then the Asians aren't going to back them. I can't actually remember where they're from. I'm not sure. I don't think it's Middle East, but I can't 100% remember. Maybe someone in the chat can do a quick check. They're saying Haney is ducking Teofimo Lopez. Okay, I didn't know where that came from. Oh, okay, my bad. The Yafai brothers are actually Yemeni, not Asian. Okay, so I take it. Well, I take part of it back, but that probably is even worse then, because as Jamdown said, if they're not the Asians probably won't back them the same because they're not from there. Plus the other demographics, maybe not. And is there a big Yemeni community in the UK? I'm not sure. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that he gets all of the I'm hoping that he gets all of the support that he deserves. But unfortunately, the lack of that lack of personality, unless maybe now that he's beaten Sonny, because apparently he was getting a bit spicy with Rob Tebbett after the fight. So if he's got a little bit of that anger and aggression in him now, he might start talking a bit more. He might be able to make a bit more noise. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. If they were Indian Asian, they get paid, but pennies on the dollar. I shouldn't have read that. Star Fox, you're bad. Like, I don't condone that comment in any way, shape, or form, despite the fact that I laughed. Yemeni is a small community, not enough. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm thinking it would be difficult. Boots feeling how it is to be Crawford without Hearn behind you. Boots got caught in his own mist. If you know, you know. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Bless up, base. You shouted me when you and Tony did the Tuesday night show. Keep on pushing and keep up the good work. Oh, okay. All right, big up to you. Big up to you. Yell out. Need to be more vocal for real. Star Fox. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm trying to think. I know that press conference is about to start in about 20 minutes. So we've spoken about the trailer. We've spoken about obviously Sonny and Galal and what his possible prospects are. We've spoken about the February the 22nd. We've even spoken about a bit of Dave Allen and Johnny Fisher. So what I'm gonna do, everyone, get your last questions and comments in. I'm actually running low on stream space, so this might actually be the last. Actually, no, I will be able to do another one because my time resets on Friday. But as for always, we're gonna let this one run. I'm gonna read all the comments I can until this one falls out, and then we're going to and then we're gonna head out. So, James, what do you mean spicy with Rob Tebbett? Yeah, so basically, Rob asked him a question saying, look, a lot of people, you're an Olympic champion, but a lot of people had you as like the underdog, and didn't really think that you'd do it. So how does it feel to win? And he was like, yeah, there's a lot of people that doubted me. You doubted me, didn't you, Rob? And he was like, well, yeah, I thought the experience of Sonny might play a part in this fight. And he's like, well, now you know better, innit? A kind of thing. It was that was the tone. So it was like, oh, okay. So he got a little bit snippy. So if he maybe keeps some of that going in future, maybe that'll be a way for him to build a more of a crowd. Locked in, chilling in Bristol ways. Okay, I need to go to. I haven't been to Bristol in a while. I remember the last time I went there, it was a very entertaining and interesting time, which I can't get into on this stream. Shout out to the Asians in Bristol, though. And I'll tell you that much for free. BBBOC, bun them and done them. Yeah, I mean, look, they're not fit for purpose at this point. When's the next casual? Oh, the next casual stream. Probably next week. Like, probably on the 12th. No, it'll have to be on the Wednesday because Ade's going to do his on the 12th, and I can't, be trying to compete for views with Ade. It won't work. So yeah, Wednesday the 11th of December. We'll do a casual. So we'll do a casual on Tuesday. We do a casual on Wednesday because we got more stuff to talk. Did you watch Gib and Slim? Nope, didn't watch it. Missed the majority of the stream, but hope all is well. Thank you very much, Tony. And you had a little portion of the stream yourself. Your much voted bout with Travis. It was put in the chat, how does that fight go? So I had to give a little prediction. So you might want to rewind and watch that. Galal versus Martinez would be an interesting fight if Martinez is focused on the task. Interesting. Base, you hear about Schofield and Coach Malachi? Yep, Mama Schko. I heard all about it. I don't know if they've done anything recent, but I saw the video that Coach Malachi did about 4 or 5 days ago. But again, unfortunately, this is what you get when you start bothering Capricorns, especially Capricorns that are as hot-headed and spicy as like someone like Coach Malachi. Yes, big up ends fam. Shame Miss Trav there a few weeks back. Okay, well, Gib won since you predicted Slim to win. Yeah, I saw something. I saw a picture of it. I didn't realize he won, but okay, cool. Shout out to him. Well done. I'm 100% interested in your take on the showdown. Yeah, well, watch it back, and you'll enjoy. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, look, we're about to wrap this one up now. Don't even need to rewind to see where Base's Acco money is going on Tony versus Trav. All right, that's it. I'm done with the comments now. But yeah, look, peace. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm gonna put up the right thing to end rather than the wrong one like I did before. But yeah, more videos and stuff coming to the channel, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share if you have not done already. I appreciate all of you, but for right now, it's a hardcore casual out.
Maybe I'ma make it, maybe I'm not. In time we'll see. But who better than me? I don't care if you agree. I ain't saying that I'm better than anyone, but who better than me?